Hi, I'm Greg Brahe, and I'm an atheist. So, do you believe that Jesus Christ was a real person?
Yes, historical. Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that he was crucified in close to the way that it was described in the Bible?
Essentially, I believe he was murdered, yes.
You do believe that Christ was murdered?
Right, yeah. I see the idea that he who came to, in my estimation, to destroy religion, got in the way of the religious, and they certainly tried to make sure they could get him out of their way, and they did. So I see him as the victim of a conspiracy to get him out of the way.
Okay. And do you believe he was resurrected?
I believe he was raised from the dead, yes.
So, if you believe that the resurrection is a essential quality to Christianity, what is it about that? Because I believe from our discussions in the past that you do not believe in the doctrine of hell. Is that correct?
Well, not in the traditional sense. No, I don't.
So, what was necessary for Christ's death and resurrection in that case?
I don't think that his death was necessary as much as it was inevitable. The message that he would bring would be so hated by the powers that be that it was inevitable that they would eventually want to get rid of him. So I think his death was inevitable, and because his death was inevitable, his resurrection was necessary. But I don't perceive this as an atonement the way that most Christians do, in terms of Jesus died and his blood now makes God the Father happy and satisfied, and he no longer wants to kill us all. I rather see that as love having come to us in a person. We murdered him because we didn't want what he was going to do to our power struggles. He rises from the dead to say, there is nothing you can do to make me stop loving you.
The God that you believe in is obviously the God of the Bible to some extent. There's with a connection to Christ that has to be related. Am I understanding that correctly?
That is key. You said to some extent. I actually perceive a progressive revelation of God coming through the experience of what I would call the cult of Yahweh. That the God of the Old Testament is, in some sense, a very human God, and that I see the God of the universe deciding, for the sake of establishing what he needs to establish for our sakes, taking on the mask and then demonstrating through the history of those people how that really won't work, until finally the Messiah promised comes along and says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And I see here a radical contrast, and yet something that was foreshadowed through the interaction of this faith that was in many ways corrupted from the very beginning. A lot of Christians who, when they hear that, would gasp with utter horror. But, as I look at the Old Testament, I see enough serious problems in it that I cannot connect the Christ of the New Testament with Yahweh of the Old Testament in a perfect connection. It just does not work for me.
I can certainly agree there. And anybody, that's one of the best things. I think there's a quote out there. I don't remember who it's from, but it essentially says that one of the best ways to become an atheist is to read the Bible. And take it literally. It's a book that has some horrifying acts in it. Here comes one of the questions that I think really is sort of always tentatively in the air when you have a discussion between somebody who believes in a God and somebody who doesn't. What do you think I'm missing out on as an atheist? Somebody who doesn't have a belief that there is anything greater. What do you think I could benefit from having that belief?
I believe that what you're missing out on is something that I have no idea what that would be. I'd have to actually get to know you as a person, and be in a place where I'd even earned the right to diagnose how this may be. You may be doing so perfectly fine that that this isn't a need you're conscious of, or even in need of at this point in time. So I don't think that I certainly couldn't answer the question definitively. I know for me it was a basis of being able to have that permission to truly love myself.